My name is Joe Winn. I'm a trustee emeritus at Babson and former chair of the Board of Trustees. It is my privilege this morning to introduce the moderator of today's Global Business Panel, Bruce Herring. Bruce is the current vice chair of the Board of Trustees. He's a long-term serving chair of the Investment Committee at Babson. After graduating from Babson, his career spanned over 30 years at Fidelity Investments in Boston, where most recently he was president of the Strategic Advisors, Inc., the investment advisory arm of Fidelity. Among other roles, he served as the CIO of the equity division at Fidelity. I'd like to turn it over to Bruce.
Thank you, Joe. Well, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Can you hear me okay? Is that better? Yes. Terrific. Well, we have an amazing panel for you this morning. I think you're going to really enjoy this. We have four incredible business leaders from the region. I'll start to my left, Carlos Torres, Vila, and I apologize, my pronunciation may be slightly off. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Who is the current CEO of BBVA, Spain's second largest bank. We also have Matías Rodríguez Inciarte, correct? Who is the vice chairman of Santander, the largest bank in Spain, as well as the chairman and president of Santander University. Claudio Aguirre, founder and CEO of Altamar Capital, one of Europe's largest alternative investment management firm based here in Madrid. And Ferit, Sahenk, chairman and CEO of Doğuş Group, the largest conglomerate out of Turkey. So if we could, yeah? Not the largest. I thought it was the largest. One of the largest for sure. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. So please give them a hand. So before we get into the Q&A, I thought maybe just a very brief introduction of your firms, because maybe not everybody here will be as familiar with you as maybe some of us. So Carlos, let's start with you, if I could.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you for the intro, and thank you for the opportunity to be this morning with you, with the Babson Connect, and for choosing Madrid. Really welcome to our city. BBVA is quite an established institution, 150 years of history, a large universal bank. We have presence across the globe. We are big in Spain, but we're also big in other countries like Mexico. We're the largest bank there. Turkey, where we have entered the country through a marvelous, amazing partnership with Doğuş for many years. Also in many countries in South America, in Peru, in Colombia, Argentina, and many others, as well as in the United States, primarily in Texas, where we are the fourth largest bank. Overall, 130,000 people work at BBVA across the globe. We have a size of our balance sheet approximately $850 billion and approximately 70 million clients.
Terrific. Matías.
Well, thank you for inviting me to participate in this panel. I'm very, very excited to share with you our experiences on Santander. Santander is the largest bank in Spain, the largest bank in the Eurozone. We are present in many countries, but our critical mass is in 10 large countries over the world. We have a market cap close to 100 billion euros. We have 200,000 employees and more than 130 million customers all over the world. We distribute our products through 15,000 branches all over the world, though the digital transformation is making more and more of this distribution through alternative channels besides the branch network, which is our way of banking.
Thank you. Claudio.
Thank you for your invitation. It's great to be here today. I've been an investment banker most of my life, for 22, 23 years, with U.S. global firms, with Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs. I still part of the advisory board, international advisory board of Goldman Sachs, but I had the bright idea now 15 years ago of becoming an entrepreneur, and I co-founded Altamar Capital. Is the largest alternatives investment manager in Spain. We invest in private markets. We have now 5 billion invested globally. in different asset classes, from private equity, venture, and real assets. And we have offices in New York, in Chile, Madrid, Barcelona, and opening in Hong Kong.
Terrific, thank you. And Ferit.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm so honored to be speaking in such a panel with such distinguished people. It's really an honor for me. Secondly, I'm really proud to be one of the guests here in a college like Babson College, where you call it Babson Connect. I would have never thought that I would be a speaker here because I was rejected from Babson College. So it goes to the president, if I were in this school, I could do better.
Yeah.
And Doğuş is a family-owned group. I'm the second generation with 25,000, not employees, family members. We are all family. And our businesses go from automotive. We are the biggest distributor of Volkswagen Group in the world after the Porsche family. Second business we have is construction. We are one of the top 100 construction companies in the world. That's my father's business. I'm hoping to get out from it. So if there's anybody needs a construction company, please talk to me.
I might be able to help you out there.
Good. No, construction is really hard business. As any business, you have to know what to do. You have to be involved in details. Yeah. So I'm not that much a construction guy. Well, we used to be bankers. Thanks to Carlos, I was able to find such a beautiful institution that I took over from my father, and the baby had become so big that it was too big to keep, especially for a family. And Carlos came and asked the hand of my daughter from me, so I gave her to him. Now, all my employees, still my friends, are in very good hands.
Thank you.
Not with a family, but with a multinational global bank. I'm so proud of it. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
And thank you for being a friend. Still, I'm in Turkey. I always sometimes advise Carlos on what to do when he asks. Of course, which I will talk later a bit, is after this bank transaction, the last 5 years, we were seeing what was going to happen. So I wanted to go a little bit to businesses that I took over from my father, give them to healthy hands, and do what I want to do. And I thank God for it. These transactions did happen. And we went into F&B business and hospitality. That's my dream, to be the LVMH in hospitality, F&B, and hotels and marinas around the world. I'll stop there.
Terrific. Thank you, gentlemen. So in the spirit of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs always trying to improve and grow, I'd like to talk about business transformation for a minute and start with you, Carlos. You've been CEO now for about 3 years, and you've embarked to try and change an old, established institution. Can you talk about what you're trying to do with BBVA, and why is this so important to you today as a leader of that business?
Yeah, I think we're living quite extraordinary times. The Secretary of State this morning was saying that technology is changing the world in big ways. That is true in general, but it's very true in banking, and we believe that we are living really an age of opportunity because of technology. And what we want to do, and it's the core of our transformation, is to bring the edge of opportunity to everyone. And that in banking means helping people beyond keeping the money safe in the bank, which is the way we have served our customers well for a century and a half, beyond keeping the money there, beyond enabling transactionality, so the money that's safe in the bank, you can use it in your life. The big job to be done here, it's really about supporting people in their life or in their business with better decision-making around money, so that money is not something that is an obstacle in their life or in their business, but it's actually a facilitator. That's really the core of our transformation. So it's using technology to support better decision-making in life and in business. We have many examples of how that becomes real. One that I love is in our banking app in Spain, which was, by the way, ranked #1 in the world among all banking apps by Forrester last year in July. We have tools that help, for example, you have a prediction tool. You can look at your transactions, not only in the past, but in the future. You can see what your statement is going to look like tomorrow or next week or next month. So you can build alerts as to, the bank can alert you when things are going, drifting away from what we're predicting. So you can really save time, concentrate on the things that matter to you, live your life, and make better decisions, which basically entails saving more. People typically don't save nearly enough, as much as they should. It's about better planning without spending Sundays working on your finances, that type of thing.
So clearly developing trust with clients is the key to having them think of you as a partner.
Very much.
Talk to me about how you do that in an old institution that probably has a lot of legacy technology, and culturally, this has got to be a big change for a company with your history.
It is.
So talk to me about
Well,
what is that
first
like?
on the issue of trust, because this is very much in the news, given what has happened also with the use of data, because really to make this very real to customers, what we're doing is we're leveraging data and technology to have really a magical experience so that things happen in your life the way they should, the way you want them to happen, with concepts like self-driving bank account or cruise control. Like, if you don't pay attention to it, things are going to be okay. We'll let you know if things drift from that, etc. That requires data. Data, increasingly, we believe that data belongs to the consumer, to our client, not to us, and that we should only be able to use the data with the consent. And that, in order to use the data, we need to gather consent. And in order to gather consent, we have to build it on trust. That's why trust is so critical. The good news is that as we build services that really add value and help people and companies make better decisions, the level of trust will be increasing. It's not just the level of trust of keeping the money safe and that the math in your bank account will add up. Of course, we have that trust. I think we have that level of trust. It's taking the trust level to a step higher. It's really the intentional trust that matters. And this requires building really solutions that are focusing on the customer, putting the customer first in a big way. We've always been a customer-centered bank, but this is taking it to a new level. And we need to adapt and change a lot of the legacy. So really the biggest obstacle to the transformation has to do with the success that we're having with the old way of doing business. It's a bit of the trade-off, short-term, long-term. We're making a lot of money. Last year, our net profit grew 20%, 4.6 billion euro net profit. Things are good. Why change? Well, we need to change. Lou Gessner used to say, the IBM chairman used to say that when the pace of change outside exceeds the pace of change inside, the end is near. And I say this all the time. We need to foster change. We need to think big and drive innovation from within, and that's not so easy with such a large organization.
I applaud you, because it is so hard to drive change when things are successful.
Exactly.
People are hesitant to take risks. Matías, let me ask you a similar question. When I was researching Santander, certainly there was a great emphasis on innovation and change and adapting to sort of new marketplaces. Can you talk about what that means for you, and why is that so important?
Absolutely. We share 100% of the challenges Carlos has mentioned. I think we are living in an industry under a very profound transformation. And with, as a result of the financial crisis, with the problem of credibility, of her image. So we need to work on two fields. First, moving from the traditional banking. I mentioned that Santander still has 15,000 branches all over the world, with a huge digital transformation, what the customers are asking from us, trying to leverage on 130 million, these 130 million customers in different geographies, at different paces of growth, different needs and choices of customers. So it's a huge challenge for a bank. How we deal with this? First of all, trying to rebalance our structural model, look into what is the right size of the branch network. Second, investing hugely in this digital transformation. Now we have 35 million customers that operate through the bank through digital channels. Third, making innovative investments. We have a fund called InnoVentures that has 200 million euros to invest in different ventures. We have invested in ventures related to lending to the middle market through Cabbage. We have invested in ventures that use blockchain in order to facilitate transactions and to move money fast from one place to another, making for our customers easier what they have to do. This is on the size of the transformation from the business itself. But this matter of reputational, we attach a very great importance. We have a program, this is the one that I had nowadays, which is Santander Universities, in which we try to involve ourselves with the communities in which we are operating. I mean, this is a program in which we cooperate with 1,300 universities throughout the world. We invest every year more than 120 million euros in this program, because we strongly believe that this dimension of connecting with the communities, with the universities, is what the world needs today. The huge challenges that we have in terms of inequality, the challenges that we have with populism, are strongly connected with the idea of education. And we think that investing in education and promoting from an entity like ours this investment is a huge plus for the bank. And when we were very skeptical, I have to say internally, when we started to develop this program, because it's counterintuitive. I mean, to say why a bank should invest in that, what they have to do is to pay dividends to their shareholders, to pay to treat well their employees, to have a good relationship, a good product for the customers. But over time, we have realized that the investment community values a lot this. I mean, and many investors, analysts, value enormously what the bank is doing in the field of education. So, I mean, the challenges of today, which is, I mean, to give a business like banking business that, as has been mentioned, is reliant on trust. Giving this dimension, I mean, is extremely important together with a huge digital transformation we are embarking on, I mean, which is the two challenges that we have to face in the banking sector these days.
That's a great answer, thank you. You know, we always talked about this at Fidelity, that there's been a wave of financial technology startups in the last 4 or 5 years, and historically, we haven't seen that sector as attacked as it's been. But I used to say they might have great technology, but you guys have all the customers, and it sounds like you're keenly aware on evolving your business models to embrace digital technology and digitize these companies, which is very challenging.
I mean, we think that the fintechs are a challenge, obviously, for us. It's additional competition in the market, and they're a more flexible regulatory environment, which is one of the things we are underlining. We want to play in a level playing field. We don't want to other entrants have less restrictions than we do to develop our business. But our way to approach it is in a very positive, proactive way. We partner with them. We try to find the best ideas to incorporate to our business, and we invest with them, and this InnoVenture fund I mentioned is a wide opportunity to partner with fintechs in order to develop products and to be in the state of the art of the digital revolution.
Terrific, thank you. In the continuing spirit of transformation, Ferit, let me turn to you now. I love talking to you about your dream initiative because your eyes light up when you talk about it. And for those who don't know, we're staying, this beautiful hotel is one of your properties, and it's a lovely hotel. It passed my most important test. Not only is it beautiful, but you have amazingly comfortable pillows, which I... Will you talk about, yeah?
My wife says the same.
Very well done, Diana, thank you. Will you talk about why, you said about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you started this initiative. Why is this so important to you? And talk to me what it's like to take what is traditionally an industrial company and transform it, you know, in financial services into something that's very, very different in food and beverage and travel.
Thank you very much. Like any other family group in Turkey, very entrepreneurial. Unfortunately, there was no succession in our company. So the succession was done by God. And so I found myself in 2001 in the middle of deepest crisis in Turkey, with rates going up to annualized 7,000, Turkish lira gone wild, and 3 banks in hand. So I had to reorganize everything, go through everything. I had to prove myself to Turkish business community, to Turkish government, to my people that I work with. And I had no choice of a portfolio, but I had to reorganize, streamline the operations, merge companies, like we merged 3 banks. We were always in the headlines because we were doing things that were unthinkable. After a while, things got in Turkey very well, like Spain, the economy picked up, foreign investments, numbers started doing well, but I was still doing what I took over from my father. The biggest mission for me was that I always believed I had to find a good partner in the bank. First, we became partners with GE. GE being such a big conglomerate, they had to leave us because of the 2008 crisis. Guarantee was a good profit for them. They sold. And then my Spanish family came, and then we became partners. First, we became equal partners. I always saw I was getting to a certain age. Bank is a very big balance sheet. It's a risky business. It's becoming more global in spite of the fact what's the reality today in the banking. Multinational banking, global banking will still be there, I believe, because the trade is going to grow in spite of everything. People are going to travel more. People are going to be connected more, like we are here today. I believe in the spirit. I wish the world would be like this, actually. We are going to get there. We just had to get some slap on the face, like in a couple of years, and then we realized that we have to live like brothers and sisters. It will happen. So I said, you know, I love banking, but my family should not take this risk. The family that I work with, my employees, need a bigger family. That's why I gladly found the right partner, and I don't say I sold the bank. I gave the flag to them. And I still get invited to the annual meetings. This is the spirit. But now, I was 4 or 5 years ago in a decision-making point where I had the luxury to do things that I love to do. I have the passion for. I'm a Pisces. I'm very emotional. I love people. I love to see the people's face smiling. And I love lifestyle business. I love nightlife. I love drinking. I love partying. I love luxury. And I said, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And Mr. Arno is such a benchmark for me in luxury business. I said, let's see if we can do this, what he is doing, what he has done in hotels, marinas, and restaurants. So I found a dream. That was my dream, but actually it stands for Doğuş Restaurants Entertainment Management, but it's called Dream. So we started buying some restaurants. We bought into the top restaurants, fantastic partners. So it was like an asset management business. But after 3, 4 years, we saw that we have more passion. We have to involve in the management of this business. So we started creating our own brands. Now we have more than 175 restaurants, about 45 brands in 13 countries, from Las Vegas to Hong Kong. And what I saw was that this business is about $6.6 trillion. So it's not only a passion and emotion. There is a number sitting there. And this is about 8.5% of the world GDP, the spending. It's big business. But in the luxury side, there is no big business. They're all chefs, and there are some brands, but there is no collection of brands. There is no collection of business where you can make this like a corporate, part of corporate world. So, and I saw what is missing in the business is that, like last night, I'm sure you saw in Amazonica, which is 40% we are involved, the restaurant business is going more towards experience. It's going more towards entertainment. You have to create a stickiness of your customer to stay more within the restaurant. Not just before the meal, they go to the bar, they eat and they say bye and go to a club. So you can eat in our places, you can go down to the Just Club, or some of our locations turn into a nightclub in Turkey. We are now bringing one to Boston, for example. It will be called Nahita. And I call this entertainment. It's dining with entertainment.
You know, I love the fact that you recognized these were your dad's businesses, but not your passion. I think for a lot of people in family-run businesses, that must be a very...
I always had the duty to my family because my father gave me everything.
Yeah.
So successfully, I had to do this transaction.
Yeah. I enjoyed talking to you last night about some of the challenges, because if you think about high-end restaurants, you often think about big personalities and some of the entrepreneurs, the chefs at the boutique hotels. Talk to me about what it's like to engage with this very entrepreneurial community.
Well, you know, apart from our own team creating brands, we have 2-3 personalities as partners. One of them, I call him Uncle Arjun. He's an Indian gentleman who was in the States, who sold his business, came to London. He loves Japanese food, but he has difficulty getting a table in Nobu whenever he wants. So one day, unlike me, he goes to the hairdresser. He is in his hairdresser talking to the guy. He said, you know, I'm going to do a restaurant that I'm going to have a table whenever I want. And there is a German gentleman sitting by him listening. And then they start the conversation. This guy just came back from Hyatt, from Far East. He has a passion for Japanese food as well. After 1 week, they decide to open a Japanese restaurant by the name Zuma. That's how Zuma started. As if, you know, an Indian guy with a German chef in London, they open Zuma. As if it's not enough milkshake, after 7 years, they got a Turkish guy in there as well. So we have entrepreneurs like this. Obviously, a very good friend of mine is Jose Andres.
Oh, yeah.
From Spain originally, but very active in the United States.
Washington.
We opened his second restaurant of Zeytinyağı. It's a Lebanese, Greek-Turkish mix brand. After coming to Turkey, we changed a little bit more of his menu. He loved it. He buys everything from the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul. And a Spanish chef, wonderful personality, a good friend, a very good tequila drinker, by the way, also. So we have somebody like that. But the biggest one, the biggest craziness is now this guy has 12.6 million Instagram followers. His name is Nusret, known as the Salt Bay. I remember him when he was like this, because my father bought fish and the meat for the house. And I used to go with him. And when he bought the meat, Nusret used to clean the floors. This famous guy now. And every time when we were leaving, he would bring a package meat for my father's dogs. He would even cook it and bring it to my father. So after years, I met him. I helped him to go to States. He saw all the steak places, all these, you know, the Smith & Wolleskis, the whole bit in New York. He went to Latin America. And then I lost touch with him. So one day he gets into Turkey, opens a restaurant. My mom said, there's this unbelievable restaurant that people talk about, let's go. So I brought my mom. Sorry, Diane, you were not there. And I saw him after years, again, hugging each other. He always called me father. Now he calls me brother. As he goes up, my value is going down. So, you know, a small place, then we opened Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, obviously New York, Miami, soon Dallas, and by September we will have London. We are growing, but with this guy to have a board meeting,
It's crazy.
is not very easy. It's not very easy. So one thing I will add, and I will shut up, I talk too much. I'm looking at the time as well. We are using technology as a friend in this business. Right now on my phone, I can see up to the minute the revenue. We have an application, special application for our restaurants. Soon, in 3 months, all around the world, where you will make centralized reservations. We will create a centralized call center. And we will know when our customer in Koya, in Dubai, goes to Koya, let's say, in London, we will know about him or her so well that we will not have to ask him, are you gluten-free? Are you vegetarian? What type of wine you like? He or she will be greeted like they were in Dubai. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. That was a terrific. You know, I love the idea of turning dining into an experience, and from what I saw last night, you're doing an amazing job of that, so good luck to you.
You know, our motto is in the group, we have to be happy first, we will make them happy.
Yeah, terrific. Claudio, let me turn to you. I think people are going to care greatly about what you have to say. You've been studying markets for your whole life. Talk to me about what you see in the capital markets today. Where do you see opportunities? Where are you directing your clients? And what are your thoughts about?
Well, I'm afraid it's much more boring. and I think we are living a world now where there is many challenges to being a global investor, as you know, not only because prices are very high, and we are seeing multiples that are extremely high, probably pre-crisis multiples. We are seeing again back all the financing that we had in those years of 2005 and 6, which are making investors to pay very high multiples. So it's really quite difficult to be able to compete and not to do silly investments and try to keep, to continue to generate alpha in our private markets investments. No? So we need to be very cautious. What we have done is put much more intense work. We doubled the team. We have added more investment professionals to 140 people because it's really difficult to find the right opportunities now. And all this combined with all this digital transformation that we were seeing, which is having clearly a huge impact in many industries now. I think what is unique in this is that we are seeing that, as is the Carlos case, that this digital transformation is really driven from the top, and you have to try to identify those visionary CEOs that are going to change the companies or that are going to drive change, because many of them may not be successful. So in private investing, you have to focus on management teams, on visionary CEOs, and that is also a challenge. No? So it's much more difficult. There is also a lot of dry powder. I mean, the fundraising, as you know, has been huge. So, this is like a big party now, which we don't know how long it's going to last. Things may change. So, but in terms, and to try to be brief because of time, where are the industries where we are now focusing? Clearly, it's healthcare. It's an industry that, because of the population aging, we are seeing many opportunities. We completed last week an investment in the US of chronic pain management, which is where a lot of investment is going now, and I think it is a very attractive situation. It is estimated that in the US, 125, more than 100 million people will suffer from chronic pain, which is far more than diabetes or other things. No? So that is, healthcare has many opportunities, and we are focusing there. Clearly on the tech, on the software side, from our venture capital side, we are seeing a lot of opportunities. And then clearly we're also focusing on the entertainment. There are many situations like Carlyle buying, Le Soleil, El Cirque du Soleil, and we are seeing this, what you were commenting before, of these preferences change. People really today prefer to have an experience than maybe buying a watch, and going to a Amazonico, which has to be going extremely well because it's impossible to get a table, or to make a reservation. So those are industries that are really new and big and changing, where we are trying to focus and where we are trying to create value for our investors.
So Claude, let me ask you a more general question, because I'm sure everybody in this room is exposed to the stock market in some way or another. The economies of the globe are the strongest they've been in a synchronized way in over a decade. Things are really very healthy around the world, economically. But politically, there's tremendous uncertainty in the world today, probably more than I remember in many, many decades. How do you see these things? Should people feel comfortable with their exposures to the markets today? Should people be nervous about the fact that things can't get any better in the world? How do you trade off this uncertainty in the world versus the strength of the global economies?
Well, I think the BBVA and Santander are good values and still very good values.
Bravo.
So you really want to invest in banking, I recommend that you look at the Spanish banks that are really transforming and are doing extremely well. No, it's difficult. I think we are all aware that there are all these geopolitical risks, and all these trade wars between the US and China, which Europe is trying to stay a little bit separate, but all these things are going to have implications. But at the same time, the liquidity is incredibly high, and the flows into the equity markets are going. There is no value in fixed income and other asset classes, so we are seeing a tremendous flow to the equity markets, which are keeping and driving valuations, and at the same time into alternatives. We have never seen the levels of funds going into the alternatives market, which is huge. But there are many risks there.
Terrific. Well, I think we're just about to come to the end of our time, and I think we could certainly spend hours talking to this incredible group. So please join me in thanking them for their time today.